Have you ever felt neglected? Do you still search for the meaning of life? Have you ever wanted to be held in the arms of an 8-foot walking tank with many weapons of mass destruction? Then boy, I may have found what you're looking for. Warhammer 40k Space Marine was developed by Relic Entertainment and published by THQ back in 2011. Probably one of the longest waited sequels since, I don't know, Half-Life 3?
Get off my ship, Space Marine!
Space Marine 1 doesn't have you sitting around with a friend explaining the philosophical lore of its universe. No, instead it just says, here's a walking tank, here's a gun, here's people that don't look like us. Kill them, please.
I was killing these orcs, and they're not human, I noticed.
Not human.
The guidebook says.
The codex says.
Man's definitely not a psychopath, like.
The animals. Are you wounded?
The codex is starting.
The codex says.
We shouldn't be using jump packs through enemy fire.
I have 2 nails driven into my skull. What do you have, bitch?
Now, if you're wondering why it took so long for a sequel to finally come out, well, there is a reason for that. And that's because, well, it went a little bit like this.
I declare bankruptcy!
THQ fell into bankruptcy in 2012, and Relic was then acquired by Sega, who did absolutely nothing to the game besides quite literally slapping their logo on the launch screen. And that was it. So unfortunately, Space Marine was just put back on the bookshelf, probably lying underneath a bunch of the Blue Roadrunner video games, and the 40k license just drifted into obscurity. Until finally, the license for a sequel was picked up by Saber Interactive. Space Marine 2 is now being worked on by Focus Entertainment, who've clearly shown a great amount of respect for the first game's lore, customization, and gameplay. Space Marine 1 has you take control of Captain Titus of the Ultrasmarts. Now you may have noticed that he doesn't quite look like an Ultramarine in my footage, and that's because I may have downloaded a Dark Angels mod. The superior Space Marine chapter, I may add. Now I won't tell you their lore, you can read that yourself. Just know that I did it because f*** the Ultramarine.
Take this fucking Ultramarine helmet as a trophy.
Why is this blue?
Why is this helmet blue?
You have disappointed me, Leandros.
You know why we don't like those people over there? Because they're blue.
Yeah. I love that.
I always hated the color blue.
You know why? For no reason.
No reason.
Captain Titus, Sergeant Sidonis, and this f***ing cuck are sent to the war-torn Forge world of this one, a planet dedicated to the creation of the Imperium's most fearsome weaponry, till the orcs came knocking. Now, originally the Imperium did consider peaceful tactics, like going full Oppenheimer, but the Imperium needed this planet, so the Space Marines were sent in.
Sounding like fucking Vietnam now at this point, like.
Space Marine plays very much like your regular third-person hack-and-slash shooter.
But by the Emperor does it feel satisfying? Slaughter them with your chainsword, riddle them with your bolter, snipe them from a distance, slap them with the bonking stick.
You get the idea. For a very short linear experience, Space Marine 1 offers many varieties of 101 ways to kill a Xenos filth.
Ooh, you got some grenades.
Start chucking them. Oh man, that's a yeet, like. There's no arc in that, like. No curveball. No change up. Just straight
you just
fucking
threw a
gas.
grenade at your guys.
Sorry, boys. I got a bit happy there.
Oh, look at him.
Look at this Shrek.
What the?
Oh!
I've never seen that.
Oh my god.
He baned me, Morty. He baned me.
Alright, let's wrap up the old story here, shall we? After we do a little trolling towards the orcs, we come across this boyo named Inquisitor Drogon, a man who looks like he still hasn't left his Linkin Park phase. Turns out he's been working on this secret power source that runs on warp energy, which Titus immediately tries to yoink, causing the entire room to shatter and disperse, but surprisingly, he lives.
Ultimate power. You held raw energy from the warp. How are you still alive?
This is what we call Foreshadowing. Turns out this whole time Drogon had been corrupted by Chaos and tricked us into opening a warp portal that allows Chaos demons to enter the Forge world, including this one incel called Nemerock.
Hello, Simon, this is me again.
You seem surprisingly able to resist my touch. Titus of the Ultramarines.
Foreshadowing. Now the rest of the game is quite easy to summarize. Leandros is a bitch. That orc war boss tries to mark us with flashbangs before quickly being put out of its misery. Sidonus dies and Titus defeats the villain in a quick time event. There is also the whole subplot with Titus and his side piece, Lieutenant Mira, but she probably won't be returning in the sequel, so it doesn't matter. The ending cutscene reveals that Leandros is a little ratty bastard, and Titus gets arrested by the Inquisition for potentially being tainted by Chaos.
I sent the demon to oblivion. But did you have unholy assistance? You will submit to my authority, Captain? Or the Inquisition must conclude that you have corrupted every Ultramarine under your command, not to mention those who stand at your side.
Leaving Space Marine on one of the longest cliffhangers in gaming history, until 9th of September, of course.
But know this, Titus. The stain of suspicion never completely fades. I will be watching you. Should you falter on the path for even a moment, I will show no mercy. Leandros.
My lord, it is time.
I just want to talk to him.
Wait, why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to shoot him.
Since Space Marine 1 Remastered just got announced, I felt like it was right to re-upload this video, and as much as I absolutely love Space Marine 2, it comes with some flaws I'd like to cover. The story. The story was okay. They didn't try anything crazy and played the story way too safe. My main issue was that it felt like it never really went anywhere from start to finish, and at the end, it just turns out the Inquisition was wrong about Titus and he was never corrupted by Chaos. He just has the Emperor watching over him, which was the lamest excuse they could have come up with. Something that isn't brought up much either is that I hated that we only had a single primary weapon throughout the story mode, so instead of trying out multiple weapons like in Space Marine 1, it felt like I just stuck with the best bolt gun for the entire game. I understand this for co-op, but for single player it became pretty repetitive after a while. The customization. I understand the class system, but it's so annoying that certain armor pieces are locked to specific classes. Why can't things like helmets and shoulder pads be customized among all of the classes? In Space Marine 1, you literally designed your Marine however you wanted, then you chose one of the 3 classes. But here it's the other way around, and I have to mention this, but the amount of limited color options compared to Space Marine 1 is absolutely criminal. And then you have the audacity to lock extra colors behind DLC. What? Like, fair enough with DLC cosmetics, but colors? Fucking colors? I understand that Games Workshop has this game by the balls, but fuck me, stop with the limitations for lore purposes and let us be creative. Now finally, the multiplayer. Now this one's going to be a bit of a rant, but I'm very concerned about Saber Interactive putting most of their attention towards a 3-player co-op operations mode. Operations aren't necessarily bad, but all I read about in the patch notes for Space Marine 2 is we've buffed this one gun by 1%. It's gone to a point where there has been so many little adjustments that I've never noticed a single difference in gameplay. Imagine if Call of Duty came out and put all of their attention on the Spec Ops mode. You'd be furious. Also, as a side note for PvP, I just want to say if you play any of the melee classes in PvP, you're a little bitch. Exhibit A, Assault, slams you from the sky with a thunderhammer and kills you instantly before flying away to recover any damage he received. Exhibit B, Bulwark, locks down with a shield in a corner, receives 0 damage, and either waits for his buddies to arrive or waits for you to stop shooting at him so he can pull out his sidearm and do insane damage. If you play either of these roles in PvP, you're a fucking disgrace. I hope that Saber Interactive focuses more on the community elements needed for Space Marine 3, because 3-player co-op experiences will eventually kill your game, while big PvP multiplayer games will allow your game to flourish with an amazing community. I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.